we have a wind turbine that we put in 5 years ago now, and a solar array that we put in about a year and a half ago. Like Bill was saying, there's a lot of advantages to both of them. Just kind of depends on what your comfort level is for risk of mechanical failure. So if you don't like fixing things, a wind turbine is probably not for you. I do not personally fix things, but I was told our turbine is one of the better ones out there, and it has had some mechanical issues over the years. So this is actually the wind turbine on our farm, kind of looking east, standing west of it. And you can see this is a 140-foot lattice tower. The reason we went with the lattice tower is it's a lot more economical than a pole type. They're less visually appealing than the straight pole, but like I said, a lot more economical. Under the ground, there's about 70 yards of concrete buried to kind of anchor it. I was told if there wasn't even dirt on the foundation, it would probably just stand there fine. It's so heavy. This is a shot of Russell Brothers looking to the northwest. And you can see we've got a 47 kilowatt array. And we elected to put the array on the ground. This hog barn is 12 years old, and the roof is going to need repairs way sooner than these solar panels would need any work. So we just elected to put them on the ground. We had some space where you couldn't really farm. It was too narrow of an area to get in and out of, so we just put the panels there. The turbine, it falls right in line with what Bill had for information. We're kind of halfway in between the two scenarios he had for this turbine. So 153,000 kilowatt hours. That's not projected. That's actual from our production history. The construction cost was right around that $300,000, and we were able to take advantage of all of the incentives that go along with that. So $132,000, and then our cost savings is $19,259 off our electric bill. And that's considerable. It's probably even more than that. Our net metering agreement is a ongoing net metering agreement, so we're producing kilowatt hours when our electrical rate would be lower in the wintertime, and we're using them in the summer when it would be higher. So we actually get a better utilization of the net metering contract. So the wind turbine is definitely makes business sense for us. As long as it stays running, that'll be the main thing. If it quits running, it becomes a useless investment, as Bill said. So, H.R. Green, engineering firm based in Cedar Rapids, provided a lot of the technical advice and did a lot of the legwork for us. Took all the work out of it for me. It was a pretty easy process. Had to deal with the yard being ripped up is about the biggest thing I had to deal with, but a lot of phone calls, keeping things going, but that's how it is with anything. The solar array was, for what it produces, is quite a bit more expensive. So it's producing about a third of what the wind turbine is. And we are in the process of still utilizing all of the incentives that are available. We haven't completely got that done yet. The payback is not as good unless you get all of those incentives. If you do get all the solar incentives, the payback is much shorter than even the wind turbine. It's very, very appealing. So a lot of people just ask me, which one would you do? I'd say, well, if you don't have a lot of space, a wind turbine is a very good option. Look at where you are in the state. That is probably going to be critical. If you're in northwest Iowa, it'd probably be a little easier to decide on using the turbine. Where we're at, it's really windy. You can see a long ways. We're in just Bill had a wind map up. We're just in a sliver in Lynn County that's a darker color red, or dark. It's just a color of red. It's not the yellow color, or blue, or whatever.
Our last presenter this morning is Joel Huber. Joel and his wife Laura are owners and operators of Huber Crops and Chops Inc., farming corn and marketing roughly 18,000 pigs annually as part of a 700 sow farrow to finish farm.
I'm the slacker of the group. I don't have any slides because all you get is pictures of solar panels on top of hog sheds. So I'm sure most of you have seen that. We're from Washington County, and we go whole hog on everything. So you can't hardly find a hog shed without a solar panel on it. So we saw our neighbors doing it. We investigated it. It looked like, it's solar company comes out and gives you this great proposal. And I'm a little pessimistic, so we didn't believe it, but we ended up putting solar panels on all 7 of our hog building sites. We're in that, as Bill talked, $2,500 to $2,800 a kilowatt. We got sites anywhere from 10 to just over 100 kilowatts. Jason showed that they put their panels in the ground. On our side, we put them on the hog sheds. We tried to pick the newer hog sheds with the newer roofs on them. We've got hog sheds that are 25 years old. We were just putting roofs on, so we thought we could get life out of that. My fear of putting them on the ground was, like Bill showed, the vegetation, and between my employees and my dad, they can run over anything. So I was sure they would run into the solar panels, and we didn't want to mess with that. So I guess my experience with solar, we finally, got the arrays up. They're working close to, we'd put enough solar panels on each site to do about 80% of our electricity needs. I think in reality we're getting somewhere between 65 and 75% of our needs. So maybe not quite as good as it was marketed. Most of our paybacks, when the solar company penciled them for us, were anywhere from 2 to 4.5 years. I kind of added another 50% onto those, and I think maybe I'm a little pessimistic. I think they were a little optimistic. So I think we're going to end up okay on these. They're not a super return. Without the tax credits, they don't work. Tax credits are great. I really kind of enjoy going to the CPA now. You don't pay taxes for another couple of years. All right, this is good in my book. So what really pushed us over the top were 2 factors. When we did our solar panels, we're on all Alliant electricity. They had some pretty huge rebates we could get, up to $25,000 a site. That really helped us. In our case, we tried doing REAP grants on all 7 sites. We were unsuccessful at all of them. So I've heard some people have really good success with that. Evidently our grant writers sucked or something, because we didn't have any success. So I guess for us personally, the factor that pushed us over the top on the solar panels was looking at, our current administration, their push towards clean energy. We didn't think power was going to get any cheaper, so if anything, we'd probably get a quicker payback as the cost of electricity goes up. Caution, I guess in our case, why I agreed to get up here and talk was we ran into a lot of headaches with the solar installation. There was a huge influx of interest. The company we hired was not terrible, but they were ill prepared for the amount of solar panels they sold that quick. We were supposed to have panels up in May, and I think we finally got everything functioning the end of August. So we were way behind schedule. I think they've ironed things out now. We'd find every site we'd go to wire, the rules would change. Nobody is quite sure how do we hook this in? What do we need for, emergency turnoffs? What do we need for signage? I know we had to go back on sites, and we'd spent half a day putting labels on all the panels. Where's the disconnect? Where's this? I think a lot of that's been ironed out, but we really struggled through that. I know we completed our panels just basically in time before they changed the ruling that we hooked into the electrical systems on our hog sheds. Now it's my understanding you have to run everything back to your service. So you got to go back to the meter. So that would have been a huge negative for us, because trenching around our hog sites is like going through a minefield. We got wires and cables running everywhere. So that would be a major negative to me if we went to do it again. Once we finally got the panels on the shed and everything worked out with the solar company, then we get the runaround from Alliant that they're too busy and they don't have the proper meters to put in to the sockets for net metering. So that took another month and a half in some cases. So I'm going to stand here and say my due diligence was not as good as it should have been. So if you are interested in solar panels, make sure that the provider you go with is, I think our provider was reputable and stuff. He just got in over his head, and then we found many things along the way that were, a problem. I know we had paperwork problems. It just seemed like every day was a different battle with them. But I think now that we're up and functioning, we're happy with the solar panels. But just really do your research. We jumped in the end of the year to try to get in, but to get the Alliant rebates because that made the panels work in our opinion. And I guess going forward, I would do a little more due diligence and be a little smarter about it. So.